What is going on? You are watching and, of course, listening to Tags Live, aka Talk About Gay Sex, the live edition, where we are here every Wednesday evening on the Crowdcast platform. Some of you morning, too, because we have somebody tuning in from Bangkok and he's watching. It's already Thursday over there. It is. This is episode 555. I am your host, Steve V, here in Oakland, California. Thank you so much. Alongside Kodi Maurice Doggette, holding down the fort in Kansas.
Hey, hello, darling. How are you, darling?
Good. We're just some travel bunnies over here.
I know.
Catch us if you can.
We should make our movie about that, about travel and Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah.
Like Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hanks. That's who it was.
Okay. All right. Good pop culture moment there. Well, we are happy to be here in front of a live virtual audience. We've got a great show ahead of you. So many hot topics, sex and relationship advice, plus so much more. Those of you watching us live, though, put your comments, ask your questions in the comment section, and we will be sure to get through them throughout this next hour. Well, we have to start with hot topics. And Kodi, I had heard that I was watching with my mom the other day, I believe it was last night, and the iHeart Music Awards were on. I think it was Monday night, actually, after we recorded Tag's podcast. And we both wanted to see Cher because she was getting like a Lifetime Achievement Award or Inspiration Award, I believe is what she was getting.
She deserves.
Yeah. And so we wanted to see, and she was going to perform. No, lo and behold, we forgot about it. And then we turned on the TV. And then all of a sudden, as we turned on the TV, Cher was it was her segment, right? And Jennifer Hudson, J-Hud, was going to be presenting her with this award, but she was singing a Cher song. And it was the iconic song from the 80s, If I Could Turn Back Time. Loved her rendition of it. It was so great. It's one of my favorite songs by Cher in general. One of my favorite songs in general in life, too. I just think it's so, awesome. And we were just so our timing was perfect. Like we didn't have to sit through all these awards that we didn't, Justin Timberlake and some other people that we didn't really care to see.
Wait, did you see Beyonce?
We did end up seeing Beyonce, and she got a great speech. But before Jennifer Hudson is singing, and then all of a sudden Cher comes out. Jennifer introduces her. They segue into Believe, and Cher sings Believe, which is another iconic favorite track by Cher. The dance track. She did a great job. She looked great. She was wearing pants that she has worn since, I believe, the 80s, and she still fits in them and looked amazing. I know. She gave a really fun, inspirational, hilarious, as Cher can only do, speech. Very down to earth, but gave some really great advice to some, newcomers too, on how to be an inspiring person and singer and all that good stuff. Well, afterwards, the Cher and Jennifer Hudson sang, I think they rounded out Believe together, and it was really great. And Jennifer Hudson is very extra, right? She loves to go on a whole singing tangent, and she did just that. And she really held out the end of the song, and I thought it was great. Cher looked like she was happy, but a lot of fans of Cher said that J-Hud upstaged her during one of Cher's most famous songs, and when it was supposed to be all about Cher, they are accusing Jennifer of upstaging her. And I say, please, online community. I mean, seriously, it's like Cher knew that Jennifer Hudson was going to present this. Cher knew that they were going to do this duet together. Cher is probably very aware that J-Hud is going to howl it out because that's what she does. And she looked like she was just having a great time. I mean, it's an honor. They're both great. I don't know why people love to come for people and just say oh, this one did this one. It's like there was no hate filled. What do you feel about this?
Oh, yeah. I know that Cher, she looked like she was having an amazing time. She supports women. She supports other artists. She is not a hater like some of these people on the internet. And she definitely was living her life with Jennifer Hudson. I feel like I would be madder at the sound people because if anybody stole Cher's moment, her microphone was not to the level it should have been. It sounded like she couldn't hear herself. It was Jennifer Hudson was sounding really good, but Cher's part, I feel like the microphone was off, and
Oh,
because
I thought
Cher's
she
just
sounded good, but I'm not a professional in that industry. To me, it sounded good, but
okay. Yeah, I
But I know
mean,
you're more technical and singing, so I get it.
yeah. So yeah, but like for me, there were some snafus as far as the performance, but not Cher or Jennifer Hudson related. I feel like there was some sound issues. And that's Cher looked like she was getting her life, and she's not a hater. She's a great person and a great role model. And yeah, I don't see
Haters.
where the hubbub is.
Yeah, exactly. It's just people always have something to say, especially
Always.
when it comes to our icons. Heaven forbid somebody oversteps a boundary. I remember when Madonna gave a tribute shortly after Prince had passed away, and she did a whole Purple Rain moment, and people were like, why is Madonna doing this? She's not black, she shouldn't be doing this. And it was like, come on, there's going to be 8,500 more tributes to Prince coming up. Madonna happened to be one of the first ones, certainly not going to be the last. Just let them give the tribute and stop critiquing a tribute. So it's just too
also
much.
To that token, they knew each other. They probably were somewhat close or what have you. And who cares who's singing a song, a tribute to their friend? That's ridiculous.
It is.
These people need to get out of the group chat. Sorry.
Speaking of our group chat here, because we are live, Malibu says, Kodi, speaking of songs, your song is terrific. Talk about it. I listened to it on Spotify a few times. I hope you pursue. Does it go on to say?
Thank you,
pursue.
Malibu.
Yeah, pursue. Right. And you are. And that's why you're in Kansas and doing more.
That's why I'm in Kansas.
Talk About It is available wherever you download your music. Okay, well, we've got to move on because we keep talking about soft and hard launching relationships. And the latest is a favorite of Tag's podcast, who we talk about a lot. I'm talking about John Sibilly. John Sibilly, you'll know from Queer as Folk, the newer edition of it that only had one season, sadly. But John's done a ton of stuff. You can also catch him on Hacks, where he is delicious on that show, and hopefully a lot more things coming down the pipeline. But John Sibilly recently hard launched his new boyfriend on Twitter, and everybody seems to be swooning over his new beau because they are so cute. And I'm talking about Philip Davis, the new beau, who's 36, an actor, a film producer, and initially he posted a mirror selfie with him, which his followers were more than happy about. I'm talking about John. He thereafter shared a sweet selfie with his boyfriend, giving him a kiss on the temple. And now they've hard photo dumped a ton over this past weekend. And they look really good together. A little tea on that. His boyfriend actually has an OnlyFans, which I think is really cool. And I decided to go check out Philip Davis's Twitter just to see how much he might be showing. No, I didn't get that far. Maybe we could collab. Maybe we could collab together.
Ooh,
that would be good.
Put that out into the universe. He's hot. So yeah,
some of these. I don't know if he collabs or not, and I don't know how much he shows. And going to his Twitter account, he showed his dick, but like the top portion of it a few different times. One of them was funny. The roof, he said he just wanted to come out and say hi as he's giving, and it looked thick. I know. And it looked
he's funny. Okay.
Funny. It looked thick and delicious. John Sibilly should be really happy. But of course, hard launching him, and they both look really lovely together. And I'm really happy for John because he looks like he was single for a minute, and to hard launch this boyfriend seems really cool. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, it's great. Good for him. I'm so happy for him that he found love again, because his last boyfriend was really hot too, girl.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
And Johnny's such a gorgeous man, so I'm glad that he's pulling all the cuties, and he should leave some for me, though, because I need a date, honey. But I'm also here for the hard launch. I mean, if you put in the work and you have that good foundation, why not hard launch a boyfriend and just let everybody know that you're in love? Love is great. And I feel like everybody.
Yeah, soft and hard launching your boyfriend, I think, is really great. I think you need to. The soft I get, and that probably takes a minute. Jeremy, our co-host, was talking about that when you soft, People are going to be asking questions, and you really do need to know that this is somebody that you're going to be spending a lot of time with, and that you trust that we are in this, because questions are going to be coming. We're going to be talking about it on shows like this. And in the event that it doesn't work out, we're going to be talking about it on shows like this, and everybody's going to be asking questions. So you really need to know. I was joking before on several previous shows, it's hilarious, like a marketing brand, because I used to work in marketing, and you would soft launch, you would hard launch products. And just it was so funny to me to hear people talking about their relationship status, soft and hard launching. And I think this is the new Facebook. Remember when you would put on there, what was that term?
In a relationship, or it's complicated, and all those types of,
this has replaced that with soft and hard. I'm all about soft and hard, of course, but I get it. But I think you really do need to be confident with it, and be confident knowing that even if this is really serious, and that's why I'm hard launching it, and even if it doesn't work out, I will take the repercussions and talk about that too.
That's right. And if it doesn't work out, like you said, delete everything. It never happened. It never existed.
You could reboot and start all over and erase everything. You are in a really good position, because you could be like write a whole album about the breakup, and
say, girl, I'm writing one about the relationship. I'm writing about the breakup.
Yeah,
I'm writing about
hey, it's all about content, right? So come on,
Taylor Swift ain't got nothing on me, girl, because I need to find the next one for the next album, because it's this one's almost done. So
exactly. Well, let's stay on dating, and we love it when you talk back to us. And one of you, Sinfully, who often puts you and I in a threesome, or at least a three-way conversation. We might want to be in a threesome with him, but
I mean, he is a sexy man, so
exactly.
Hey,
Sinfully was responding to episode 553, and this is where we were talking about. Kodi, remember what we were talking about relationships, and when we were giving advice on a Reddit thread of somebody that felt that in their current relationship, they're always the one that shares what's going on, and they felt like maybe their partner wasn't asking enough questions like, well, how's your day? What are you excited about? However, he did mention in that same conversation that his boyfriend does will show it in different ways. So he'll drop off a special gift, or he'll do it maybe in a way. And Teddy, our co-host that day, was saying, well, yeah, I mean, people show things in different ways, and it's not always the same. There's different languages of love, I think. So with that reference, this is what Simply wrote, and he wanted us to discuss. So I was listening to episode 553, where you two were discussing conversations. I have a question for you two. Why do you think the expectation is always on the more reserved, introverted people to match the level of outgoing, extroverted people? As someone that has always been really introverted, my interactions with people that I'm meeting for the first time are usually reserved, and I tend to be a man of few words. For me, I really have to feel out a situation and the people involved before opening up. Social interactions are very draining for me, even ones with really close friends, so I like to protect my energy. Like with anything in life, there has to be a middle ground. Some people, and just getting to the next, some people love going to parties and talking to everyone and standing in front of a big crowd talking for hours. Is that us, Kodi? Whereas others don't enjoy.
Find out.
Whereas others don't enjoy small talk and prefer smaller groups or one-on-one, deeper conversations. And the idea of getting up in front of a group and talking can be very stressful. I fall into the latter, he says. And lastly, he says, I think when it comes to social interactions, the two camps have to acknowledge each other and not ask the other to change, but find some common ground and respect each other's differences. And I agree with that last part, that you shouldn't, and it's kind of what I think we were saying in that conversation, the original conversation, is that not everybody is going to show things in the same capacity and range that you do. And you just have to know that you're feeling the love and that you're receiving it. I mean, there's always room to say to your partner that maybe if you are lacking something, you can always say something to them, I think. But also, like, do a whole assessment of what you are getting, and everything doesn't need to be exactly the same. I think when I was younger, I wanted people to act the way I did for it to be a successful quote unquote relationship. And today, hey, if I vibe with you, I vibe with you, and we don't have to be the same at all. I mean, we have to have a few things that we're excited about, but I don't really need to do, and we don't have to interact the same way and like the exact same things. And I've learned that as I've grown. And there is somebody that I keep talking about that I've been spending some time with in New York, that we have a couple things that we're really into that are exciting and fun. And then there's other things where we're very, very different. And I think it's just a growing thing, and I love it. What do you say?
Oh, yeah. I totally agree with you. I think that it's something that you definitely feel out, that the connection has to be there, and there has to be this mutual respect. I related to so many of the things that Simply was saying. Actually, when I'm in a lot of social situations, oftentimes I like fall back and take stock of what's going on in the room, and then it how I feel about the room and the people in the room affects how I show up. Maybe it's not the right space for me to be so overt and crass or what have you, but I definitely like to take a step back and then reassess what's actually going on. So, and I think that acknowledgement is a good start. It's all about respect and boundaries, in my opinion. I remember when I was dating my ex, he loved to go, he loved to go, say we were at like a circuit party. He would love to go into the crowd and dance with all the people and have all those people on top of you. I'm not necessarily into that 100% of the time.
Right.
I'm more of an outskirts dancer, and I don't like all those people on top of me all the time. So I feel like what would happen generally is that he would go into the crowd and I would stand on the side and bop around. That was totally fine. And then sometimes he would come out to the outskirts with me and dance and what have you. And sometimes I would go into the crowd with him. It's all about compromise, in my opinion. And I think that that is the place where we all need to start. We need to recognize each other's differences and compromise and see how we can make things work. Because it's all about working at the end of the day.
Right. If you really like somebody, you're going to make those compromises, and there's that spark that is keeping you guys together. And so, yeah, I mean, kudos to him for saying how he operates. He's just more of an introvert, and we shouldn't make introverts rise to being chatty Cathys if they're not that. And if often opposites attract, and so if opposites attract and one's an introvert and one's an extrovert, don't force that other one to be the other thing that you're not. Find some common ground.
Yeah, and something that kind of just came to me was that in the moment, and I've had this experience on both sides actually, in the moment, if somebody seems a little bit more reserved, you wonder what is going on with them necessarily. So I definitely see that from that perspective or that point of view, that people not talking to you can be a red flag to some people, and then it makes things a little bit awkward. But again, we have to not make it about ourselves at the end of the day. They could be having a bad day and they don't want to talk to anybody. It could be a million different things. So at the end of the day, we just have to respect each other.
They could be having a bad day. You could be putting them on the spot when they're not used to being on the spot. They don't want to talk in a group situation. If you're trying to get something out of somebody, and just leave them alone. Maybe they're just introverts, and
just leave me alone.
leave people alone. Mike, watching us from Bangkok this Thursday morning, because he's ahead of us over there, says it's a balance between respecting each other's differences and trying to bridge them when possible. Totally agree. I think that's what we were essentially saying as well. Well, thank you. And we always love it when you comment or have something to say on some of the hot topics that we're talking about. So keep them coming. We'll give our DM handles in a little bit at the end of the show, or you can always go to tagspodcast.com and message us there. Okay, well, let's move on to more hot topics, because recently Gen Zers were talking about, there was a whole thing about Gen Zers prefer first dates to be digital instead of meeting people in person. And they say that it's more efficient. It's costs are obviously rising to go to restaurants, costs a lot of money. And before they're investing in somebody, they are actually meeting them online and seeing if they even want to get to know them. And at first, I thought this sounded very like, I don't think I'm for this, because you know me, I'm always in a bar, at a restaurant, sidling up to people, striking up a conversation. But this kind of makes sense to me, Kodi. And this was done by dating app Wingman, where it surveyed 500 people from the ages of 18 to 27 on their dating preferences. And they found that a staggering, 65% preferred to meet digitally, the most significant change since the height of the coronavirus. And users in that younger age group just absolutely don't have to bat an eye. They think it's just more efficient. What do you think about this?
Something about this is ringing a little bit strange to me. Actually, I'm not in Gen Z. I know, shocker, right? So I went to go speak to my nephew, who is a Gen Zer, and he said a lot of Gen Z people, the reason that this might be attractive to them is because maybe they're socially awkward, or maybe they don't have a lot of time and things of that nature. And that it might be easier for them to meet people online as opposed to meeting them in person, and then maybe vetting them on the first date that way. To me, that just seems a little bit backwards. But when he was talking to me, I realized that I did have experiences like this, because when I was a little bit younger, maybe in my late 20s, I had 2 different online relationships, and not relationships. I was dating them basically, or what have you, quote unquote. And I think that the thing that really struck me about that is that they could have been catfish for all I know. And I'm pretty sure that one of them was actually a catfish. So I don't think it is the best thing to...
Well, let me stop you right there, because what the people are doing in this study and what they're saying is they actually turn on their Zoom. Were you doing that video? Because they're having these dates in the comfort of their home, but like on a Zoom call. You're talking about online chit-chatting and back and forth, which I could agree could be catfishing, and that would make me nervous too. Would you be into because to me, I find it more like a numbers game where you can see, like, it's the next step between the phone apps where you essentially are talking, and a lot of people never seem to, there's a lot of people that don't convert to an actual date, right? They want to be pen pals, as I said before, or my sister says. And this is like that nice step in between where I feel like you could take a pooling of people that you're interested in and do almost like a round robin chat with a speed date. You could pick a random Thursday, and because not Wednesday, because you're watching Tags Live, and you could do this and meet a bunch of people, and then out of those that you met, you could then go on an actual date.
I don't know, Steve. It sounds really impersonal to me. I feel like it really does, because I get it. I understand that, like you said, it's a numbers game, and the more people you can go on a date with, the more you can see who you actually vibe with. But vibing isn't all about the chat. It's more for me about the in-person vibe. There's so many non-verbal cues that you get from people when you're actually on a date with them and they're sitting across from you. You can see how they treat the waiter. You can see all of these other things. If they're affectionate in public, things of that nature that you might have a better sense of by meeting them in person. And that, to me, that's leaps and bounds above a Zoom call. That just seems really impersonal and unromantic to me.
Well, I was saying, I think it's like a nice bridge. So you could do a bunch of them, and out of those, the goal would be ultimately to meet one of these people in person. I just think I see the sense of why so many Gen Zers are going towards this. And the study also said that many of it had to do with financial reasons, because a lot of people don't have a ton of money right now to go.
Yeah, I feel
even
that.
for cocktails can be, you want to go to a decent place to meet somebody for a cocktail. And even happy hour these days, at least in New York or where we live, is not the cheapest. And it's like, so, and if you wanted to meet a pooling of people to see who you vibe with, it's that intern moment. And then you meet like 2 out of the 10 that you actually want to then go on the drink. You could weed out a few more, then you can get to the part that you're talking about where you sit in front of them. I just think it's a nice bridge between the apps and then actually meeting in person. It's this like bridge moment where you actually see people. And I get why Gen Zers are saying, because of the financial reasons too. You're not going to go on 10 different dates, on 10 different cocktail dates, and now you're out how much? So I see why Gen Zers are going down that route. I'm not saying I'm going to do it, but I think it's a valid, and I see why this is a valid study that they're doing it. So,
oh yeah, I agree with you. I see all of the points. I understand them. I think that it's very efficient, but to me, it's giving job interview instead of romantic date.
Got it. Okay. Let's move on to somebody that we've talked about on this show before, comedian Jerrod Carmichael, who has a brand new docu-series that is just dropped. I can't wait to watch it because it really looks like he's divulging so much, doesn't it, Kodi, on this new
He's really opening up.
He's Black, so a lot of it has to do with his family, and he is, he had a whole Netflix special that won awards and has done really well. Now he's back with this. He's been touring. He's doing really great. He puts everything out in this brand new docuseries, including things like who he's dating. He's been sucking on some toes, which I'm not mad at. He has a foot fetish, apparently. And he also had one of his best friends on the show who he admits on the show that he had a thing for. And he said, I fell in love with my best friend, 1 out of 10. I don't recommend. I knew I had to tell him. Things started getting kind of weird between us. I had these feelings, so I texted him. I remember saying, I know you didn't ask for this, but somewhere down the line, I developed feelings for you, and I don't know what to do with that. Then I immediately turned my phone off and went to therapy. He's talking. He's talking about rapper. What's the rapper?
Tyler, the Creator.
Tyler, the Creator. That is Jerrod's friend. And so he decided that he asked Tyler if, hey, could we film this on my new show, and it's going to get real personal. And Tyler, the Creator, said, sure, let's do it. But the whole scene, and you can watch a little bit of it online before you even watch it.
Number one.
I would have said no too. It was really cringeworthy, because when Jerrod says, hey, I messaged you, and remember when I did that, and you didn't respond, and then when you did respond, you didn't really address it. You said you're being I think he said you're being stupid, and didn't really ever address the situation at hand. He said, and he also changed the subject to eating in the reality show. Tyler started eating a sandwich in front of him, and he still didn't. It's really cringeworthy, even the little bit that I saw. Yeah. What do you think of this? And have you ever been in this situation where you like somebody and they weren't on the same page?
Me? No, darling. Well, Steve, first I have a confession I need to make to you. Okay, Steve?
Oh my God. Do not do that. Hilarious.
The confession is, this will never happen to us.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, this is rough. I really felt bad for Jerrod because he really put it all out on the line, and he was really honest, and it did not work out maybe the way that he envisioned. Because in the back of your mind, you hope and you dream that this person is going to say to you, oh, I love you back. Let's try and make this work. But it did not happen for him. It's really sad, actually. I don't know that I have ever been in love with a friend that I had a crush on a friend that didn't love me back, but I know that a friend has had a crush on me that was in love with me, and he confessed to it, and I did not feel that way about him. He was one of my best friends. And I was going to say something.
Let him down? Did you let him down?
Did. Easy.
Did it change the relationship between you two?
That's just what I was getting to. I was straightforward. I said to him, I do not feel this way about you. I think that you're an amazing person, and I wish the best for you. But this is not. I don't see you that way. Unfortunately, after that, I thought that things could go back to normal, but it made it weird, and it made because I knew in my heart of heart that I had hurt him, number one, and number two, that he still was holding on to maybe me being, coming to my senses, quote unquote.
Yeah. See, that's always the problem, is that people hold on to. I've been in that situation too, where I've had people like they were friends and they same thing, but we were able. Sometimes it doesn't work out, to your point. I've been in this situation where I have liked somebody and they were a former go-go dancer in New York, and they would show little signs that maybe they would tease me a little bit, so then I would think I had a chance. They were my date to my birthday once, and I had this huge lavish birthday, and they showed, everybody was like, who is this? And I was almost soft launching this dancer of mine at the time.
Come on, recall.
I know, and he played along with it, but ultimately he just wasn't really into me that way, and he was also not really gay. He's somewhere in between all of that. He's kind of in between all that, so I know, probably. So I think but here's the good news on that one. Over time, we didn't talk for a while. We just let things pass, and we are now really close friends and hang out all the time. We've moved into a different echelon of friendship now, almost brotherly, and it's great. I love him so much. He loves me, and it's practically Barney, and everything is happy-go-lucky. Sometimes you just need a little bit of time, I think, because it can get awkward, right?
Oh, yeah. It can definitely get awkward. You know what? I have even had thoughts of maybe I had a friend that I thought maybe there could be a connection like that with, but with everything that I went through with my former friend, because we still keep in contact a little bit, but not as much as we used to, unfortunately.
Got it.
And that made me wary of going or maybe trying to explore a romantic relationship with any friends, because I saw what it did to our relationship, and I never wanted to have that happen to me again, unfortunately.
Yeah, it can be tricky, but the new season of Jerrod Carmichael's reality show, which I think it has a full name here, but you can look it up, it's weekly episodes on Friday on HBO, started on March 29th at 11 p.m. It's also going to be streaming on Max, if you have that too. Check it out. I'm going to be watching it because it looks interesting, and I really think Jerrod is somebody. Well, I like him. I'm not there yet, but I think he gets it on the way you have to put things out there these days, from his comedy to his life. This is the way we operate now, and it often has to be awkward too. And you almost have to divulge more in today's media, I think, to elicit a response. And he's on that right path. He's somebody that I look up to for that, and I think he's on the right path to this. I will be watching. Will you be watching or no?
Oh yeah, I have Max. I'm going to be giving him a nice listen, because I want to see how his story evolves. Definitely.
Got it. Okay, well, let's go into some health talk, because we are a sex podcast, and I'm talking about Dr. Levine, because Dr. Rachel Levine, who's transgender, is also the Assistant Secretary for Health. I should say Dr. Rachel Levine is the Assistant Secretary for Health, who also happens to just be transgender, but she is warning everyone in our community to heed warning with syphilis, because numbers are on the rise. A pediatrician who oversaw Pennsylvania's health system was nominated and approved to be the Assistant Secretary for Health at the U.S. Department of Health and Human Human Services. The LGBTQ plus community and allies erupted in celebration and support as a trans woman with significant influence over America's health care. Dr. Levine survived a GOP lawmaker onslaught of dissension on her nomination. Well, she is here to tell us that National Syphilis and Congenital Syphilis Syndemic Task Force. She had the pleasure to recently attend this, and she said, I found her focus on the growing sexual health realities of our community and other Americans, including trans health, mental health, and so forth. And now, nearly 3 years, it's time for our community to get serious about syphilis, the sexually transmitted disease specifically that has been rising to historic levels. And it's up to each of us to stop the spread. Data released in January from the CDC said, and reinforced by Dr. Levine's guidance, shows a sharp uptick in the in the number of syphilis cases, with a 17% rise over the previous year, with 2.5 million STD cases reported to the CDC. And this is why she's just warning us to, get tested more often, I think is really her main focus. And I know that we've been talking a little bit about doxycycline, doxypep that you can get, which when taken correctly can also reduce it when you take it up to 72 hours post sexual activity. My Dr. Goldstein prescribed it for me, and I only use it when I think I've been in a high sexual element, but I also try and get tested more often than not, because while I am on PrEP, I'm also sexually active at times, but I'm also an OnlyFans creator now, and I just need to be tested more often, not just for myself, but also for my partners that I am seeing. What do you say to Dr. Levine's message about syphilis and other STDs?
Well, I love that she's putting this out here, and I just want to speak on Dr. Rachel Levine for a second. She is amazing, and I'm so glad that she's speaking truth to power. And it's amazing that she's overcome so many hurdles, because she's gone through a lot with the GOP. And so snaps to you, Mama. Thank you so much for doing all of this. I'm actually really afraid of getting syphilis, because the things that can happen to you and the fact that it can go undetected for a period of time, it makes me afraid, and it makes me think that it is something that I could actually get, and it could just wreck my life from there. And it's not just the LGBTQ plus community. It's all communities, as the article said, and the numbers are getting wild. So everybody be as safe as possible. Like Steve said, not only for yourself, but for everybody, because the more you're aware of your statuses, then the better off we all will be.
I agree. I mean, I think the message is there. I think it's great coming from Dr. Levine, because I feel like she has our best interests in mind. So if she's saying something like this, we've heard it before, STDs are on the rise in general. But rather than fear, I think fear, what can we do? I'm not going to change a lot of my habits necessarily, although as a community we did with monkeypox, we heeded warning and we did change. And so unless they're saying things like, during that period, we need to reduce our sexual partners to combat the rise of monkeypox, and our community did rise to the occasion, I say get tested more often. Don't change your practices as much. I mean, just be aware of it because it's out there, but also don't live in fear. And if you could get tested more often than not, and there's all kinds of ways to get tested, and I'm talking about things like Mr., which is online and anonymous, that you can do and often free for you. So if you don't find yourself in a community where you can run to a free clinic, or you don't want to go to your doctor because you don't want to get them involved, you can intersperse this like Mr.com, which we've had Tristan on the show, who heads up Mr. CEO. And there's just other ways that you can get on top of it so that you don't find yourself, because if you do find yourself getting it, it's not a death sentence. There are ways to combat it, and you just don't want it to linger on. And that's why testing more often is probably the message right now that she's really advocating for.
I agree.
Yeah. So, okay. health alert, and we got to talk about some salacious news because the first out gay NCAA wrestler who everybody was tooting up, I'm talking about Alec Donovan, 26, from New Jersey, who was like everybody's golden child for so long. He was 2015 out sports person that he was on the cover of many things. Donovan, he gained fame as the first known out gay wrestler in NCAA history, and then later went on to the Centenary University in Hackstown after experiencing homophobia. And this is a time when his longtime classmate, female, encouraged him to come out, which he did. So he was being praised for years. Well, now he may face some hard jail time because of child porn. He was becoming the youth wrestling coach, and he is admitted to exchanging nude selfies with minors. It's so sad. Prosecutors have alleged that Donovan used an internet-based app to exchange images and videos depicting the abuse of children, and he was also charged with using a web-based messaging app to solicit illegal imagery from children, as well as sending nude selfies and imageries to children. Talk about the rise and fall of a hero within our community, Kodi, of Alec Donovan. What do you say to this? It's so sad and gross.
I'm not gonna tout him as a hero. That he was
like he was.
Oh yeah.
Well, we thought he was. We thought he was.
Oh, hero. Yes. Yeah. Let's call Olivia Pope though, because this is a scandal and it's crazy. And
okay,
in New
Kerry
Jersey,
Washington.
I know, right? I used to love that show. I'm so glad you got it.
Love it.
But this is really horrific, and they're definitely going to throw the book at this person because he really deserves it. In my opinion, you just don't do this type of thing to kids because it just scars them for life, and it's right. They're going to go through so much trauma, and I really feel bad for the kids. So they need to throw the book at him and just put him underneath the jail. I can't even talk to a 19-year-old on Grindr, so I don't understand how I just can't. It's just unfathomable to me.
You could talk to. Listen, Kodi.
I could.
I would just check the ID because, to your point, I was, we've been doing these since we're traveling, and I'm in my hometown, not this current moment, but my mom just lives east of here, and you're in where your mom is. We've been turning on our sniffies and our grinders and our scruffs, and I did see somebody hit me up in my old hometown of Fremont who did say he was 18 and wanted to go down on me. Well, here's the thing, Kodi. 18 is legal. I would totally go for that. For sex, I would. But I think if you're saying the cutoff age of 18 or you're Kodi, you said 19, I would actually demand a ID and have to see it. Like, nope, ma'am, I need to see it. And I need to see it when I come over. I need to look at it and inspect it. Like I am a TSA agent because I'll have a flashlight in hand. And if I get any, like, is this a fake ID? Because I know that game. I played that back in the day at one point when I was your age. And I did that too. And so I do not want to get caught in the act, but 18 is legal. 19 is legal. So if you really determine that they are and they pull out the birth certificate and your TSA mind says, absolutely, they're who they are, then go ahead and have some fun. I want that 18-year-old dick.
I see what you're saying, but for me, it's just more than the ID. It's two forms of ID. It's your last,
first
your
and last
report.
Month.
Exactly. It's a bill from a phone bill and a gas bill. I need all of the physical evidence before you get these draws because
the funny thing is, what would I present my AARP to him as he's presenting his legal documents? No, thank you, ma'am. I have not started AARP.
You're not.
We're definitely
a little
not.
bit above 18. We're both just a little bit above 18. Okay. We're like 20 and a half. Okay. But I cannot. It just scares me too much. I would be too afraid that they're underage. So I'm going to pass. Thank you.
It's a hard pass.
Yes. But to kind of go back to the subject though, you know that the right wingers are going to say something about this. They're going to grab onto this like leeches, and they are going to go to high heaven. But I'm not that man. Don't put that man's stuff on me, because I'm not here for it. If that was the case, I wouldn't trust any straight people. So keep that in mind.
And we're not here to say that all our community is perfect, because we're definitely not. And
definitely not.
We report on all of it. Perfect. And you know, it's sad, because it was somebody that was so prized. It was the first out NCAA wrestler. You know, everybody was tooting him, and it's just that rise and fall that you hate to see, because it's like, oh, you had everything, and then you had to, and it's a sickness too, I think. If you're soliciting nudes and sending them, it goes beyond, it's a sickness, and it's sad. And you know, not only he's sick mentally, and that's not good. So, okay, well, we love to give advice on this show, and one of them is right up our alley here. It comes from a Reddit thread. By the way, you can always ask us for sex and relationship advice. We are here for you. You can go to tagspodcast.com and email us via the website, or certainly DM us. We'll give that handle at the end of the show. But first off, on Reddit, they were asking the question, what are some thoughtful, common decency type things you do for your hookup partners? I love this. They wrote, for myself, I offer to meet them at my nearest subway station and escort them to my place. This reminds me of something you said. And I do this because I personally have a terrible sense of direction and tend to get lost easily in unfamiliar neighborhoods, especially after dark. For some reason, this courtesy often goes unreciprocated. I plead with guys, dude, you won't have to meet me at the stations, but could you just stand outside your house or apartment building so I don't have to wander around helplessly? Apparently, even that is too much work for some people. So what acts of kindness do you bestow upon your seeking strangers? I think that's a little bit much, and I feel like we've been talking about that recently, about the rapper, that the gay rapper that was sending people to, that got into so much heat, Big Dipper, when he was sending people to the wrong address. And then we were saying things like, no, I think it's cool to come down. I think it's nice that he meets people at a subway station stop to also see what they look like, to see if he really wants to go through with it. But I can relate to this a little bit. Tomorrow I'm going to be shooting an OnlyFans scene with this guy. More to come on that. But he is all the way out in San Francisco it's called the, I think it's near the ocean. So it's really far out in San Francisco. And I'm going to take the train and then probably Uber to his place. But he offered to give me a ride to the BART station when we're done. And I'm going to accept that ride to the BART station too. And I think that's going to be that's going to be a really nice thing. It's not, it is a hookup, but it's like a content creator moment that we're going to do.
Work.
But it's work, but hey,
it's a work shuttle.
It's also sex too. And so I think that I'm here for that. I just offer like a shower mostly. Like if somebody, you know, when we're done, I offer my shower with a clean towel, and they can, you know, I offer that. I also offer a glass of water as well too. And not cocktails. I'm not like your bartender here. I'm going out for cocktails later. But for you right now, I'll offer a glass of water, a clean, fresh towel, and a nice shower. You've taken my showers before, and they're really nice.
They are.
And yeah, what do you offer? And would you meet somebody at the corner bookstore?
No, this sounds crazy. I don't want to shame this man, but no, ma'am, I'm not doing that. I'm not coming downstairs to make sure. This is what the map app for in your phone is for.
I know these days you can figure out.
Get lost.
You really can't. These days with the trains, and like you can literally, like, I'm in a foreign city. I don't really live here anymore, and I want you to get back to your point. But you can put trip finder. You can put travel planner on all cities to plan your train, your bus, all this stuff that'll take you right to where you need to be.
Exactly. It will. there's a blue dot that tells you exactly where you are. That's ridiculous to me. I'm not coming downstairs. You're lucky I let you in, because that's what I do for the people, okay, that come to my house. I don't have a house right now.
You're homeless, but yes.
Oh God, that sounds horrible, but it's true. But they're lucky I opened the door, because that is the gift. That is what I have. That's the courtesy that I provide for them. That I'm opening the door and I'm allowing them to come into my home, and I am the gift. Do you see all of this? Hello, right?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's the gift. I mean, other people said my house is never as spotless as when a hookup comes over. I'm not so. I mean, my house is. You've been to my house. It's neat.
Yes.
It's not spotless. It's neat, but the room that we're going to be using, the bed is always clean and neat, and I'm trying not to have too much clutter in the bedroom. And the rest of the house is good. The bathroom is always going to be clean and fresh, because I really am going to offer them a shower, or inevitably, what if they just have to use the restroom? You know, I don't want them in a dirty bathroom and all my stuff out. So those kinds of things. Right? Yeah. I mean, yeah.
To provide a little bit of context, I am a traveler when I hook up. I like to go to other people's places. I don't like for them to come over there. I don't want them knowing where I live. I don't want them knowing.
You're a traveler. I'm a host, typically, right?
Well, it is.
I'm a consummate host. But
I am not. I like to go over their house. So if you ever want to hook up with me, just make sure your bathroom's clean. And I'm not going to ask for too much. I don't need water. I just need I need the bussy. That's it.
Okay. Yeah. Be clean and ready to go and get it
on. That's all I need.
Okay, let's do this other one, because we got to allow enough time. Let's not take too much time on this.
We got it.
Guys with face pics on Grindr, do you get anxious when exposing yourself, or is it an advantage from those who have faceless pics? That was the question posed, where somebody said, I have a face pic there, and I always get a little bit nervous when I'm on the gym or at somewhere, thinking someone might have seen me there and have no idea. This one's a kind of an easy one, and I find with sniffies is the one that I use more often than not. I have full on face. I also mentioned I do OnlyFans now, so my Twitter shows everything. I don't have a lot to hide. I talk about sex, so I might not be the best example, but for me, pretty much everything's out there, and so I'm going to put my face, just am, and market my OnlyFans too if you want to collab. And so I'm just I'm probably not the best example, but you were talking about it recently too. You were going to try it in Kansas, putting your face versus not. What has been the results?
So I went on Grindr in Kansas, and I think on the last episode I said that it was like 10%. Actually going back on it and looking, it's more like 60-40, and I would say 40% are not showing their faces, and maybe 45, something like that.
60 is pretty good, though.
It's good, but it's not what I'm used to as far as New York is concerned, because like everybody's showing their faces. They're very proud of who they are. It was enough people for me to recognize that it was a habit, and for me to actually think about whether or not I should put in there, if you don't show me your face, then I'm not talking to you, because that is how I feel. If you don't show me your face, I don't know who you are. You could be an axe murderer. I don't know. So I just need to see your face. We need to meet in a public place, because I'm not doing it. And I feel like anybody who doesn't show their face, I feel like they get less results personally. I know when I didn't show my face on Grindr, I definitely got less hits. And
you can be a little bit lazier, I feel, if you have your face up and have people come to you, I feel, because you're putting it all out there. The ones that I'm a little bit lazy too with that, because I've said before, I don't do a lot of the online. So if I'm going to do it, I'm kind of just turning it on. I might look a little bit for a few seconds, but then I'm keeping the browser open and doing other things typically, and waiting for people to come to me. But I have also put so much out there: face, body, dick, ass, all that stuff. The ones that don't, to your point, I think then they realize it, and they just know that they have to pursue a little bit more. And what you can do if you're on that boat is then you can send personally, if you like somebody, like you like Kodi, you can send the face to that to Kodi. But just to that person. I just feel if you're going to go that route where you're discreet, or maybe you're worried about your town that you live in, you just don't want to put everything out there, then you're going to have to be a little bit more the aggressor, a little bit more of the seeker. But when you find somebody you like, then send your picture to that person. And some of these apps now have it where it'll disappear and you don't have to really worry about it. It'll just be out there for a short minute so they can see. And I just think it's a different way.
So I was on Sniffies, and I don't show my face on Sniffies, by the way. I just have a body and a dick pic on there, and it attracts the boys. But I had somebody on Sniffies, I think it was not too long ago, today or yesterday or one of those days, and I said, "Do you have a face pic?" And he said, I sent you a face pic on Grindr, and it was a disappearing pic. And I was like, well, how does that help me now? I don't want to know.
A totally different app.
A disappearing pic 2 weeks ago.
I'm sorry, I didn't file that away. And I've had a lot of happen in the last couple of days. Sorry, ridiculous. But I don't remember that. Sorry, yeah. Next. Yeah, no, not happening on that one. Well, we want to allow enough time. Weigh in on this one, though, what you do and what you think about it. We want to hear from you. Go to tagspodcast.com. It's time for Thirst Trap, and it's the weekly segment that we like to do, produced by Straight Up Gay Porn. And this week they're asking the question, out of these 14 gay porn stars, who took the best photo? I will post this on tagspodcast.com so you could weigh in at home if you're listening to this one. Like I said, it was 14. And shall I go first?
Go ahead, darling. We already did a little
we did
communion.
It's our job to vividly describe in an auditory podcast why we picked the one we picked. And I have to go with Raphael James, who is stunning. He looks like he might be in his bathroom, which looks nice and modern and clean. And he just is flexing for us. He's got a sleeve tattoo on the camera that's on the arm that's holding the camera phone. He's looking at himself in the phone. His right bicep is huge. He's lean and mean, but he's got the hugest quads ever. Nice rock hard abs. I mean, he just looks like a beautiful specimen. And then you get to the quads, which are gargantuan. He's perfectly shaved. He's into weed because he's got it on his left.
Oh, that's what that is. I thought that was the Canadian maple leaf.
But maybe it is.
No, I think it's weed. I think
okay, right. I think it's weed too, and it's on his left hip flexor. And then you see this beautiful, long, straight ass, rock hard cock that's just pointing straight down. That is delicious. And he's just got like muscles upon muscles. And I'm just saying, as a specimen, this is a really fun picture to look at. And he gets my pick. In fact, I'm going to vote for him right now. Who do you vote for and why?
Well, I thought I was voting for Louis Ricotte, but first of all, this Thirst Trap week is thirsting because it is amazing. And I just saw Luscious, who is above Louis Ricotte. Louis Ricotte is beautiful, man. But yes. I might be picking Luscious because he is stacked and his penis is huge. So he deserves my vote. He is nice, dark-skinned man. He's beautiful. He's got beautiful eyes. He's standing in front of a mirror, completely naked with some chains on. He's got it's a mirror selfie, and he's got the phone in there. And his dick is almost to his knees. It's really stellar.
Luscious, though, I think I went to Luscious's profile, though, and he doesn't collab. He wanted to make that very apparent.
Oh, no. I take my vote back. So.
Let me see if I was right. I do not collab, is what he says, in all caps. Why you got to shout out at us? Okay, fine. No exceptions. No booking. No nothing. Solo till I'm married. If there is no gift. No. And then he goes, if there is no gift or support, I will not reply to the inbox. That is a lot.
That attitude is the worst.
Thank you. So you might want to rethink your.
I'm taking it back. He got me with the beautiful body and penis, but no, I'm going back to Louis Ricotte. He's a bald, muscly man with a septum piercing, and he's so sexy. He's in his bedroom and sitting at the foot in a chair. He's got his hard dick lifted up, his legs wide open, and it is a mirror selfie. He's gorgeous.
What's his name again?
And I bet he collabs. Louis Ricotte. He's right underneath Luscious.
Okay, Louis Ricotte is down at 3.79%. You know, the one I picked is Raphael James is number 1 with 20 point. I know, I picked number 1. I can't help it. I mean, I didn't know. Drake, Malibu says Drake Manson is his favorite. Okay.
Drake is number 2. Get it?
We love it. Well, we want to thank you for watching us live. This has been a great hour of hot topics, sex advice, and so much more, and thirst trapping. You can always follow my co-host, Kodi. He's a life coach at KMD Coaching on Instagram. Follow his personal account at Mr. Maurice. And he's got a brand new single out, Talk About It, available wherever you download your music. So get it while it's hot. You can follow me on the gram. I am _Steve V. Go to my Twitter at Tags Podcast, where you get a preview of all my OnlyFans and my onlyfans.com/sexy poppy Steve V. Tomorrow I'm releasing with It's Your Coach SF. It's Your Coach SF, which a hot scene that we shot last Saturday, and it's already edited and ready to go. And so I'm uploading that tomorrow. And it was a lot of fun on a wrestling mat at his place, and so much fun. I'm doing another scene tomorrow, so I just keep it coming. It's coming. Okay. And in the meantime, continue having hot gay sex.